Hey, YouTube America, how you doing? I'll try talking about this one more time. Every time I do, I get so upset, and I'm so passionate, and I love America, and I love white people so much. I just start swearing and cussing, and then I start thinking of how much I want to hurt the enemy, and then I start threatening them, and I let them know that I want to tear them apart from the inside out, and I want to paint the walls with their blood, and I really don't like them. But let me talk about Joseph in the Bible, Genesis. I think it's Genesis 14 or whatever, Genesis 17. But Joseph is this Hebrew Jew, according to the Bible. In reality, they're the Hyksos invaders from Canaan that invaded Egypt and took over and put the Egyptian people into slavery. But according to them in their book, their Bible, they completely flipped reality upside down, and they're liars. And they said that they went down to Egypt and somehow they were slaves, but they were so super awesome, wonderful, incredible people. Somehow they took over Egypt because their brilliance or their favored god status or something. But that's kind of funny how that worked out. But this Joseph dude, he was like the right hand man of Pharaoh, and he convinced the people to give up their goods because he was manipulating the market. He cheated the people, and one by one, they had to give up their goods. They didn't have any feed to feed their cattle, so he tricked them and tricked them to give up their cattle. And then next year they didn't have anything to plant, so he tricked them to give up their lands, and they didn't have anything to live on. And the next year they didn't have any food and they didn't have anywhere to live. So he was able to trick the people to give themselves up to slavery and sell themselves to Pharaoh, the state. It's state-sponsored communism, and he was rewarded greatly for this trickery, and he was called like the most godlike person. It was Joseph, the with the coat of many colors, and those are the birthstones of it's like I'm Aries, so my birthstone is diamond, and people have all kinds of different birthstones and stuff. But those are all the different colors of the on his chest plate that he wore, his coat of many colors. Um, but the poor people, the Egyptian people, were put into slavery this way, state-sponsored communism, and the Egyptian people hated the Hyksos invaders for what they did to them. Um, the Hebrew Israelites of the Bible, the Egyptian people hated their guts, and it took them 500 years of to finally rid themselves of these disgusting invader Hyksos, which the Bible calls them Hebrew Israelites. But 500 years it took them to get rid of these things, and there were some events that happened. I guess that island in the Mediterranean Sea exploded and caused a lot of devastation to the people of the area, and this was right around the Sea People's invasion of what was it, the year 1170 BC, and their societies were collapsing. The Greek society collapsed. The Hittites collapsed. Canaan collapsed, and Egypt suffered greatly. Now, during the Egypt trials, it didn't really. They're trying to say that the Egyptians were able to fight off the Sea People, but It also shows that the pharaohs were given concessions to the sea people. So losers don't really turn around and start giving concessions to the invaders, but the Egyptians were forced to deal with that. And if you read the book of the Judges, you know these sea peoples, the Israelites were the sea peoples. It's very confusing, but they were in the land of Moab, and these Moabites, these Moabites were invading their crops, and the Israelites didn't like that, so they had a call on all their peoples, their surrounding invader peoples, and they set a trap for the Moabites. I can only assume, like they waited probably on like a Friday or Saturday night when they were all fucking drunk, and then they snuck into their camps, and they had these little pots of oil, and they set them on fire, and then they smashed the pots of oil up against their tents, and they burnt down all the Moabites in their when they were drunk in their tents, and then they slaughtered them, and that's how they took care of their people. They attacked in the middle of the night, and they burnt them up in their tents, and they waited when they were drunk. You know, they never fight fair. But this is the same thing that's happening in America. You know, we got invaded and taken over by these Israelites, and they're in our government, and they're buying off our politicians, and our politicians are working for them, and our politicians are making laws to protect them against us, and they're taking all our money, and they're financing their rich, lavish lifestyles, and they're living high on the hog, where they're also financing the war in the Middle East. You know, their wars. They're using our money and our resources to push their agenda. But our economy is so bad right now. Nobody has enough money to feed themselves. Nobody has enough money to live. And there's a huge communist push. Everybody wants to go communist, but you're already living in a state of communism in this debt-based society, you know, ran by the Hexos banking Israelites that have infected and invaded our land, the precious United States, the new Egypt of the world, you know. And we are the Egyptians, and we're getting plundered by these Hebrew Israelite Hexos invaders from the Mid East, just plundering all our resources and using it for their own good. That's what's happening, and we got to rid ourselves from these Israelis. We got to get them the hell out of our government. We got to stop doing business with them, particularly everything that has to do with security. Get rid of them. Get rid of all their security. They don't belong here. They're not us. They're not our people. They're predators, and they prey on us, and they're hurting us, and we got to get them out of our society. We've done it before. We've kicked them out. Everybody knows who they are. Everybody hates their guts, and all we got to do now is just get rid of them. Take care, America. We'll beat them. We'll beat them together, you and I. We will beat these things.